This piece on prisons, as we call them, rights of ours, as we call them, a variety of things about our legal system, as compared to, say, that in some Muslim countries today, is being done by somebody 61 years old who lives in Kentucky in a very poor neighborhood, entirely working class town of 30,000, and who also at one point lived 4 years in Appalachia, and who travels extensively in Appalachia, including not just Kentucky, many rural areas, including Harlan, Kentucky, Morgan County, many other counties where there's almost no industry at all sometimes. And meth use is epidemic. Lottery machines are epidemic in nature. And, of course, the ubiquitous marijuana use. And also, I've traveled in Tennessee 3 or 4 times in the past year to West Virginia and North Carolina. I'd also mentioned, for what it's worth, I am the son of an immigrant mother who came to Ellis Island in New York at age 12 herself, knowing no English, from Eastern Europe, Poland to be exact, a war refugee. Additionally, I went at age 18 and attended West Point and graduated 4 years worth. Was a lieutenant in the Army. After graduating, I went to airborne school, another school, and then Germany for 3 years, where I was a platoon leader of a tank unit with 4 M1 Abrams tanks and worked with 15 men. And that was during the Cold War. I will say I was fortunate in some respects, you might say, not to have to serve, quote, combat time. I left the military a year before our unit all shipped out to the Persian Gulf. I also grew up very, very poor in some respects, and have many stories I could tell about that also. And many challenges, including moving 10 times before graduation from high school. So as to where I live now, my economic status now, this and that, is dictated by a variety of unusual factors, including many years of caregiving for someone whose alternatives would be intolerable. I would also mention that at West Point, my area of concentration, as they called it, they now give majors, is in electrical engineering, although I studied many, many other courses also in the liberal arts. And I would maintain to my dying day that West Point was not, in fact, a college. It was a 4-year boot camp, and also that I do not have any college degrees from anywhere else, although I did attend Berea College starting at age 41, studying primarily mathematics, as a community member taking 2 classes at a time, and really hitting the books that time to study mathematics to its core. I didn't receive a degree there. I thought at the time to be a mathematics teacher at some point, but I did pay back my tuition expenses there by working for the college 10 hours a week, tutoring for 2 or 3 years in their math department to fellow students and at least one community member for paid basis. And later in life, spent at least 5 years working in the capacity basically of a volunteer in a drop-in shelter at a major metropolitan area in Kentucky, where there were many people cycling in and out of prison and then coming there in their off periods, so to speak, as well as many people who've had massive chemical-based addictions to alcohol, hard drugs, or other, and a variety of other crimes, and periods of in and out of, quote, homeless shelters and on the streets, and so on, and gambling problems, and I guess you could also say sexaholism problems and so on. So I've seen my share of all of this and done many much time involved and taken many people to lunch who have been, quote, homeless, to hear their stories. And so I think I have a leg up here compared to the average John Doe as to what is happening in life, as well as having spent time as a caregiver visiting a particular individual in their hospital stays over 150 times over the years. So that's where I'm coming from as to the content here.